Welcome to the Greyhound Star pre-Derby semi-final Zoom. I'm joined as usual by the Keneally brothers. Gentlemen, first of all, Joe, I see there's a new job.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, so going full time. Well, I say full time. I'm guessing it is full time analyst from August for Racing Post Ground TV. You know, it's something that I've been after for a while. I knew my job was coming to an end with Barclays, and I messaged Dave and JK and asked if I could maybe have like a trial or if there's anything they could do. And they said at the time there weren't really anything they could do, but yeah, they got back in touch and said that there might be something from August onwards, and then that was confirmed. So yeah, it's something I've got a massive interest in, and something I'm really looking forward to starting. You know, I've been a guest on the show plenty of times, and so yeah, so I'd like to think I can give a decent insight in terms of a punting perspective as well as just the knowledge of the game. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to August being here now.
Oh, fabulous! I genuinely think it's a great appointment, and I see that Annalise is also doing some stuff as well. I have to say, I think sort of the Derby is RPG TV at its best. I think I don't know, people have different views. I think it varies the program given that the content and also the presenters between kind of really poor and excellent and all points in between. But it's definitely got to be a good move in my view. So best of luck with that, mate.
Thank you. Cheers, Floyd.
Right, so gentlemen, I think the starting point is we have to go back to last week's Derby quarterfinals, and who would like to run through the first one for me?
Yeah, I'll do that. Like we mentioned last week, it was a really exciting card. Get to the quarterfinal stage. I think all connections of all 24 dogs or 23 dogs at the time. You're praying they get through, regardless if you come first, second, or third. And I thought I thought leading into the derby, we thought that the Irish dogs had the stronger hand, and I think they really come to the forefront on the quarterfinal, where I think 3 out of the 4 winners were Irish, and I think it's 8 out of the 12 remaining dogs are all Irish. And I think that we say a lot about the early pace of the Irish, but they're back for me. The back straight speed of the Irish dogs is just a different level to what we've got over here, unfortunately, at the moment, barring 1 or 2. And I think you're seeing that now, where we go. Dearjet Sydney got off the front. Gaetan Milo was another good winner. Thorn Falcon actually did do it for the UK dogs. Then Ballymac Fair one put in a monster run to come second, and then Not the Ball Sid obviously now with that middle tag showing its class from the front. So yeah, I think the Irish definitely favourites moving forward now, but there's still 12 top quality dogs going forward in this. And yeah, it was a really good night's racing.
I mean, in terms of that first quarter final, Dearjet Sydney just destroyed him, didn't he?
Yeah, it was, as soon as the traps opened and you seen it come out, it was right, and it got across 2 and 1. It was race over, but Dearjet Sydney showed an awful lot of determination to actually cut across the 2 to make a Sydney. But once it did that, it was race over, and then you're just looking then what's going to turn in behind to qualifying. Cold as ice. It's actually my remaining anti-post pick. I never said a lot about it before the start of the competition because I probably wasn't over optimistic about it, but the dog just seems to have this knack of just turning handy in these races somehow. And once Dearjet Sydney got to the front, it was race over, 29-13, really good time. Then as soon as you see Cold as ice turning where he did, I think he turned second. You know the dog's going to qualify from there. And it's only been beat a length and 3/4. I don't think the dog's actually showing a lot of staying pace in terms of looking like it's ever going to catch the winner. But you know that wherever the dog does turn, nothing's going to come from behind him. And moving forward to the semi-final, I actually think he's got half a chance to turn handy again. But just going back to Saturday, 3, as soon as it led, was race over. 4, when it turned second or turned extremely handy, was race over in terms of the qualifying spot. And then you're looking at that final third place. And Toolmaker Sydney did get done for a little bit of early, but we did say it was a really awkward draw. But once it showed its pace down the back straight to go past Forest Gold and Pacemaker Ted, it showed an awful lot of ability, the dog. And yeah, I think Connections will be delighted with its run last week. And I think they'll be very excited and cautiously optimistic for its draw on Saturday.
Yeah, in some ways, I just get the impression that they, I don't know, Dearjet Sydney, because the Irish dogs are running so well, including obviously his kennel mate, he's almost been a little bit overlooked on how outstanding he has been. I mean, he has been a very, very good champion, isn't he? To at this stage of the competition,
He has, and the fact that he's had to do it at 2 tracks as well just shows the class and the overall quality of the dog.
Joe, second heat, obviously there was a lot of thought about Bocco's Belly. Didn't quite work out as people were anticipating. How did you see it?
Yeah, the main hard luck story was a Lock and Lock, who kind of took a bullet break, and then she just got done for a little bit of early when she was just about to maybe get round in front, and then it would have been a procession from there as she did, but she got done at the corner, and then she's done so much running to get to within a length of New In Session in third. So she was a hard luck story, and there's plenty more races and definitely a competition in her going forward. But again, and then Gay Time Milo took his chance. He had nothing in 5 to get in his way, and then he had Bocco's Belly who missed a break slightly from 3, and then obviously Aussie Captain didn't do it right at all at the start, and then I think he might have went lame. Aussie Captain, looking at the distances, I think he might have gone lame, and then obviously the Gay Time Milo dog done it well, and he gives himself a live chance going into the semi-final now. He's been running really well for Graham Holland. In behind, I know when his first heat, it was a 4-dog race in the first round. Then he's been running well in behind, and he's managed to get to the front, and he's a strong running dog. So once he's led, it was race over. And Bocco's Belly just keeps doing what Bocco's Belly does. He's an absolute aeroplane, this dog. And if he ever gets it right, he's definitely one of the fastest in this country, and never mind in Ireland as well. I'd fancy him to go far in the Irish Derby as well as the English. And then New In Session, who's running okay and just keeps getting himself through. He won his first round at a short price. And then he's finished second twice, and then finished third behind Gay Time Milo last time. And he's just running okay and still qualifying, but the times he's doing are still decent. And like you say, we've got 12 top quality grounds going into the semi-final now. So now 3 really good qualifiers.
Ryan, what Born Falcon? I think that we were in some dispute as a question of as to whether he would get a run in the quarterfinal last week, and obviously he did.
He did, yeah. I think it was me that I was the stupid one, I guess. That question whether he qualified last week, but and in fairness, even though he has got off the front, he's had to work hard for it. I think he took an awful whack off Bubbly Magnum and Ballymac Fair one at the first 2 bends. But yeah, Traps Open. I actually thought Bubbly Magnum was going to lead, but Thorn Falcon, in fairness to it, stayed out of the way early doors, but showed a lot of pace to be able to cut across Bubbly Magnum. And then the one I actually took out from it was Ballymac Fair one, who came away poor, I'm going to say, for the level. Came away quite poor, but showed an awful lot of speed to one Lee Clara line up, and then just get inside Bubbly Magnum half a length before finding a bit of trouble. But then, yes, a lot we've seen in the Maiden Derby at Toaster. Thorn Falcon, really determined dog and a big dog. And I think flying the flag for the UK at the moment, because he keeps getting this draw, and it's shown an awful lot of early pace. Like I said, I was really impressed with the early speed that this dog's shown. And then once he got to the front, it wasn't going to be for catching. I think Calara Lion, who is just a credit and sensational dog for connections. Even if you look at the SPs it's been running in, the times it's been doing, it's never flashy on the eye. It's never fancied to win races, but the dog just keeps on qualifying and finding itself in a position. And even though it did get picked up for second place, it was always going to finish in the top 3 when it did turn the second bend where it did. But like I said, I took Ballymac Fair one out of the race because I don't think it wants to be in track 1. It came away very average at best. We showed an awful lot of pace to get inside Bubbly Magnum before coming to a bit of a stop. So yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on that dog because I think it's much better drawn in the semi-final. But yeah, Thorn Falcon, really good winner. And Patrick Janssen has said this dog's going to get better throughout the competition, which is what we're seeing. It can do it off the front, it can stay in behind, and it's a very strong, determined dog.
Joe, looking at the 4th qualifier, I don't suppose anybody saw Pat Buckley sneak some rubber bands into that box, did they, when before Knocking the Bullshit came out?
It's the first time we've put a roar up for, I can't remember the last time, to be honest, and it was literally race over after half a yard. He's absolutely bombed out. And yeah, he brings a different dimension to this derby now. He was clocking like 29.40s, 29.50s in the first and second round, and he looked poor. If I'm being perfectly honest, he looked like he was a little bit flat-footed and just looking one pace and managing to qualify. It is a stroke of genius. The middle tag, he won the Easter Cup out of 6, so the draws outside are not an issue to Nottingham Bull Sid. And as I mentioned, it was race over after 1 yard. He's gone 3 clear, very early. I was happy he was drawing the inside of a Dow's Duke, who's shown loads of pace to the second bend, and then obviously was on the wrong side of Not in the Ball City, who then led him. And then you're looking for what's in behind him. You know, Ballymount Wild, Beach Avenue. I think they were the three that I put forward to qualify them. I'm sure they were. And this Ballymount Wild dog's just pure class as well. You know, he gets further. He's so strong. He doesn't lack a yard. He's not really showing it, but he's showing against Roxham Shake. He can turn handy. And yeah, he's a fantastic greyhound. And I see him qualifying for the final. And Beach Avenue does what Beach Avenue does. He detaches himself early, and then he manages to run on late and he flies home. So 3 really good qualifiers. I know Kevin was gutted with the draws for Forest Gold and Silent Ace, both being in trap 1. Obviously, they've both been knocked out. The Machine probably just found 3 too good, as we've seen. And, you know, he was beating tired dogs in the rounds before, but there's no margin for error now in with these dogs. These are the best dogs around in Ireland and in England. So, yeah, it's unfortunate for them. And the Dow's Duke, who is just an unbelievable competition dog, and he's a massive credit to Lee Field and the connections to get to the quarterfinal. And he was desperately lucky to go out. So, yeah, Not in the Ball Sid brings a completely different dimension to this Greyhound Derby now. He'd be my favourite at the minute. I think he's got a lovely draw in the semi-final, so he's the one to beat for me.
Yeah, I just kind of looking at what's qualified, and we'll perhaps talk about this as we preview the semis. But they were all front-running dogs that have won, but yet you've also had a lot of stamina, obviously with the likes of as Cold as Ice and Ballymount Wild and Beach Avenue have all come through to show the benefit of stamina as well. So it's not simply an early pace derby. But interestingly, I don't know, maybe I've overread this because we all look for little themes and things. A lot of the dogs that we all thought were a little bit on the early pace side, a little bit on the sprinty side, we did lose quite a few of them, didn't we, in that particular run? Just wonder whether it's getting to them at this stage.
Yeah, I think that, but I also think there are a lot of these early pace dogs. Even if you look at Silent Ace, Adal's Duke, where if they don't need it, and you see it all the time every day, whether it's graded racing or in your regular open racing, where these early pace dogs who can do good times, if they don't get it their own way early on, then it does suit the stronger dogs out in behind. And unfortunately, when a Dearjet Sydney leads into 29-13, there's nothing that can physically catch it, unfortunately. And then when a Not in the Ball Sid leads at 29-23, I mean, on the eye, he looked like the fastest dog that night, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But when he leads 29-23, again, there's nothing that can catch it and do them times. So I think you hit the nail on the head, really. The track is suiting both early pace dogs and stayers. The Gaetan Marlow one, it was a very messy racing behind, in fairness. And Bucco's Belly shown when it picked up new in session that you can do it right from behind and still qualify. But I think that for the likes of your Ballymount Wild, your Cold as Ice, your Beach Avenue, you are going to need just a little bit of bunching in front of you. For one, to be able to turn handy, but for two, to stop a Dearjet Sydney getting off the front and doing a 29-13. So yeah, but it's like anything really. When the best dog leads and posts them time, nothing's really going to be able to catch it. So I think it's a really good balance. We've got 12 excellent dogs going forward, and yeah, we're looking forward to getting stuck into the racing.
Wonderful. So, who wants to talk me through this first semi-final taking place at Shelbourne Park? Because it might as well be.
Ryan's got his anti-post in this, so he can go with this one.
I will do the honours. Yes, so my remaining anti-post bet, and I'm pleasantly surprised that Easton is Cold as Ice in trap 5. I don't think Cold as Ice is going to win this race. I do think it'll qualify actually, but I actually gave the race to Dearjet Sydney in trap 1. If you look at its race on the third round, the 19th of June, where I think we all said if you offered Pat Butley trap 1 for the remainder of the competition, he'd snap your hand off. Shown an awful lot of determination last week, because there was a lot of people saying actually wanting to lay Dearjet Sydney last week because of the draw it had with Forest Gold, and I think it was Toolmaker Sydney inside it. But the traps opened, shown a lot of determination to get to the rails. Once it got to the rails and led Cold as Ice, it was race over in 29-13. I can't see this draw being an issue. I think it's actually an unbelievable draw compared to last week. And I'll just see the race where I think trap 1, Dearjet Sydney will lead. I think once it's lead, it'll be race over. Then it's a really fascinating race to what I think is going to turn second. I don't think Beach Avenue will be turning second in the race, but I think Ballymount Wild's really, it's a proper head scratcher, along with Toolmaker Sydney, actually, where if you look at Ballymount Wild's run, in the first and second round, where it's managed to turn handy, showed decent early. If you compare the last two races, I mean, you think it's a different dog, to be honest here. I just can't see how that's going to turn in the first three in this race. I thought Toolmaker Sydney, I think, if you look at the race on the 19th of June when it did lose to Ballymat Fair One, Ballymat Fair One was actually Ballymat Fair One was drawn inside it. I've watched the replay over and over again, and I think with a level bet, I think Toolmaker Sydney will lead Ballymat Fair One. So I've actually read the race where I think Dearjet Sydney will be away and gone. I think Toolmaker Sydney can turn second in the race. I think it's got enough pace to lead Ballymat Wild. I think it will lead Ballymat Fair One, who will be moving in slightly as well. I can't see that getting a clear run if it doesn't clear Toolmaker Sydney. And then I actually had Cold as Ice, who I think will lead Beach Avenue in 6. And as I mentioned previously, I don't think Cold as Ice is showing enough speed where I think it's going to be able to catch these dogs. I just cannot see, wherever it turns, a dog picking it up. So I read the race where I thought one, Dearjet Sydney would get off the front. Thought Toolmaker Sydney would be able to lead Ballymat Wild and Ballymat Fair One, turning second. And then if there's a little bit of bunching inside, I think Cold as Ice can turn fairly handy in third. And I don't, even though Ballymat Wild, Ballymat Fair One and Beach Avenue will be coming on really strong, I don't think they'll have enough speed to pick up a Cold as Ice for that final qualifying spot. But it's a really interesting race. I think it's one of them races where if any 6 of the dogs qualified, you wouldn't be surprised. I think all connections will be going into it with some hope and some chance of making the final. But I think Dearjet Sydney, I think it will have enough speed to lead the race. It's 5-6. I probably wouldn't be playing at it in that short just because it's such a high quality race. But yeah, I think it'll be away and gone. And then, I think there'll be a lot of opinions on what's going to finish second and third.
Joe, looking at the race, I mean, great credit to Jimmy Fenwick. I mean, to be putting a dog in a stayer like this, I'm sure there were a lot of experts who, confidently predicted that the dog wouldn't last more than a couple of rounds. Jimmy is a fantastic judge of a greyhound. Not so great at football, but you can't have it all. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, just on Cold as Ice, I think the move to step him up to 6 bends has brought out the best in this dog, obviously, but for a reason where he's actually managed to get his head in front early enough and show how fast he is. Me and Ryan have followed this dog, and we followed him off a cliff, to be honest, in his early race and at Monmore and at Newcastle, and he's been beat by some okay dogs, but he's in races that you really did expect to win. So the step up to the 6 bends is genius, really, because he's managed to get in front now, and he's obviously got a bit of confidence from that, and he's beating proper dogs here to qualify. But this race here, it's got everything, and I thought Ballymat Fair One was overpriced at 11-2. I fancy Ballymat Fair One. He put in a massive run beyond Thorn Falcon last week, and for me, he can break better from 4. He's got more early than Toolmaker Sydney. That comment, beating for early pace, is a massive concern for me in a race last week for Toolmaker Sydney. Ballymat Fair One's got more early than Toolmaker Sydney. I've got no doubt that he leads Toolmaker Sydney and Ballymat Wild, and I'm interested to see how Dearjet Sydney breaks from 1 again. Now he's been in 3 last week, and he's switching back to 1. So I thought Ballymat Fair One with the pin could get first run here and go around in front, and then if he does, he'll win. Connections of 1. Dearjet Sydney will be happy they've got track 1. They've said that they're more than happy to run in track 1. And I thought he turned second, and I thought he'd finish second to Ballymat Fair One. And then I've gone for Ballymat Wild to finish third. I've gone for a 4-1-2. I just think this dog just has a knack, and he knows how to qualify in these big competitions, and he doesn't have to win for me to show how good he is. He's showing how good he is in beyond proper dogs here, and I just thought that he could turn in a pitch here and finish third. So I've gone for a 4-1-2. But you wouldn't begrudge any of these qualifying from this. It's a really intriguing race. You've got dogs who are going to be flying home. You've got dogs who want to get off the front, and then you've got dogs who have got all round good pace. Your Ballymat Fair Ones, your Dearjet Sydneys, and your Ballymat Wilds, etc. So yeah, I've gone for 4-1-2, but it's a race full of quality, and made the best 3 dogs qualify from this. It really is an intriguing race. But I just thought 11-2. I had Ballymat Fair One more of a 3-1, 7-2 shot. So yeah, I thought there was a bit of value there.
Yeah, it's interesting that most derbies we always end up with. And use a derogatory term, a bit of an outsider kind of getting through. you can't really look at any of these last 12 and say, I'm sorry, what are you doing there? Because they're all there entirely on known ability, aren't they?
They're all there on merit, and you tell the connections of Astute Missile that he was 28-1 and he won the Derby, and tell Salad Dodger who was a massive price and won the Derby, and going back further, you tell Conor Reddy who didn't win a race until the final. I think when he caught Fears of Phonic, back at Wimbledon, I don't think he won a race up into it. He might have won the first round maybe, but then he's gone 4 or 5 rounds without winning and then win the Derby. So yeah, every dog here is here on merit. They're 12 unbelievable greyhounds, and we've got some of the best 4-bend dogs in the UK. And then you chuck in obviously Cold as Ice, who's more of a staying dog in there, and then we've got the absolute maximum from Ireland. So yeah, it bodes for a really good semi-final draw.
I think the outside is possible Calara Lion. And if you're outsider of the Derby at the semi-final stage is the East Anglian Derby winner, the Kent Derby winner, and then the Blue Ribbon winner. If that's your outsider in the semi-final, I think you've got a real high-quality semi-final lineup, and being perfectly honest with you. So yeah, I think if that's your outsider, then yeah, I mean, how good are the rest?
Wonderful. Joe, do you want to lead us off on the Polish-Belgian Intertrack?
Yeah, so I've got one left for Anti-Post as well. I need Not the Bull Sid for decent money, and I'm glad he's coming to a bit of form. And it's another top class semi-final, and for me, Not the Bull Sid looks perfectly drawn here with Calara Lion in 3 and Not the Bull Sid in 4. Calara Lion will definitely be moving in from that draw, but it could get the dog to come away. If I'm being honest, out of 3, he hasn't been doing it out of 1 and 2. He might find a little spark here and maybe come away out of 3. But for me, Not the Bull Sid, he's coming out on a piece of elastic at the minute. And if he does that again, it'll be raced over fairly early. But there's no margin for error in this style, so he's going to have to do it right. And look, if you offered any of these connections, 3rd in this race, they'd absolutely snap your hand off to qualify. So I'll go for Not the Bull Sid to make all. And I've gone for Thorn Falcon finishing 2nd. He's just going from strength to strength, this dog, and he's set for a nice run out wide again. And if he comes away, he can lead Gaetan Milo in 5 into the corner, and he can turn beyond Not the Bull Sid. And in 3rd, I had Bocco's Belly, another aeroplane for Patrick Janssen and Graham Box. So I could see Patrick being double-landed in next week's final. The dog is putting in some serious runs in with top-class dogs. He's putting in some massive runs behind, and he's as fast as anything, and he just stay. So unfortunately, I had New In Session going out here, Calara Lion and Gaetan Milo. I had it as a 4 Not the Bull Sid over 6 Thorn Falcon and 2 Bocco's Belly. New In Session has done unbelievably well to get here without showing how good he really can be for me. Calara Lion, as we've mentioned, he's just an unbelievable greyhound, and whatever he's done in the past, this is an absolute bonus with what he's done, and good luck to all connections. And then Gaetan Milo, I just thought was franked by pace, and I just thought he struggled to get a run here. So yeah, it'd be Not the Bull Sid over Thorn Falcon and Bocco's Belly for me to make the final.
Okay, Ryan, have you been comparing homework?
I mean, I thought picking the winner of this. I use the term straightforward loosely because it's a top quality race, but I do think that Not the Bull Sid will be away and gone. And I don't think, like we mentioned, I think the time 29-23 last week, I think he can probably do better than that, if I'm being honest. From what I've seen last week anyway. So I think Not the Bull Sid will lead. I think that will be race over, and then really hard race to dissect in terms of what's going to qualify then. And I've gone with Not the Bull Sid to beat Bocco's Belly and New In Session. So that means again I've written off Thorn Falcon, which what's going to happen now. But I've gone 4 to go in front, and then I looked at the race last week between New In Session and Bocco's Belly. I've been watching New In Session actually closely throughout the Derby, because going into the competition, it was one of my I'm a really big fan of the dog. I don't think it's been showing enough trapping ability, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But I watched it last week, and Bocco's Belly came out probably quarter of a length quicker, and New In Session showed an awful lot of speed. The reason why Bocco's Belly did get that bump at the first bend was because New In Session was able to get inside it. And I think that just at some point this dog is going to break out New In Session. I think you've seen that in the first round when it did a 4:19 split. I do think it's got far better than the 4:39, 4:30s that's been doing the last 2 races. And I think that it can trap out better. I think that the early pace it has been showing, I think it's going to turn second behind Not the Bull Sid. And then if it does turn second, then I don't think there's 2 of the dogs that can go past it to knock it out. The reason why I've gone with Boco's Belly to finish in the top three and to finish second is it did take an awful whack at the first bend last week. I think it will have enough speed to clear Clara Lion. I think that as long as New In Session is half a length ahead of Boco's Belly going into the first bend, I think Boco's Belly can get a fairly comfortable ride into the second bend down the back straight. And I think it can turn third or fourth in this race. And from what we've seen, especially the last two runs, the dog's an aeroplane, even if it leads or coming from behind. And I just read the race, so I thought four would lead. I thought one would turn second. I thought Boco's Belly would be able to get inside Thorn Falcon by the second bend. With that, then I think Thorn Falcon would struggle then to catch Boco's. In fact, it wouldn't catch Boco's Belly. So I thought Boco's Belly then would finish second. I think he'd catch New In Session just off the last bend. And then for the final qualifying spot, I had New In Session and Thorn Falcon, half a length between them, and I just favoured New In Session. Clara Lion, I think if you watched this run last week, I think it went to the bend last. I think there was a little bit of trouble in front of it, and then it managed to turn second. If that happens again, then this dog's more than good enough to take advantage of that. I just can't see how it's going to get a run and turn handy in this race. And then Gaetan Marlowe, if Gaetan Marlowe does blast out and there is a bit of trouble on the inside, then this dog's more than capable as well of turning second round at bend and qualifying. But for me, it was Not in the Bull Sid to be a fast finishing Boco's Belly and New In Session to just outstay Thorn Falcon. But I keep writing off Thorn Falcon, if I'm being honest, and every single week it puts in a good run. It wouldn't surprise me again if the dogs do the same. It's got a really good draw. I just didn't see how it was going to turn in the first three on a level race on Saturday.
So, gentlemen, moving on to the plate. Do you have an order of preference here?
I'll go first on this one.
Yeah, you go first, John.
Trap 5 for me, Glengar Bale in the first semi-final. I think he's got a decent draw. He should lead New In Jacko in 6 and has the slowish starting Bombardier in 4. He'll be going left. So as long as 5 Glengar Bale comes away, he can go around in front and win. He ran very well behind Angry Dad in the first round last week, as did Fat Boy Storm in 3. But this looks tougher for Fat Boy Storm now. New In Jacko was disappointing for me last week. He should have won from where he was, but got outrun for second by Bubbly Bollinger. And both were behind Jack Solution, who's in good form and goes from 2 here and will need to clear Angry Tornado in 1, who took an unexpected ping last week to clock 29.13, which is rapid. It's the same time DJ Sydney done in the quarterfinal of the Derby. So that's a very quick run. But I'll go with Glengar Bale. I thought he looked a good thing. And I'll go with New In Jacko to come on for last week's run and finish second. And Angry Tornado to qualify in 3rd. So 5, 6 and 1 for me in the first semi-final, in first plate semi-final.
5, 6 and 1, Ryan?
No, for me, it's not actually. I've gone with Glengar Bale. I think this represents a huge drop in class. I think if you look at his runs even at Toaster, the last 3, Ballamac Aerial, Sign at Ace, and that was a really hard race. And then Angry Dad last week where they had a really good battle. I do think this represents a big drop in class. It wouldn't surprise me if Glengar Bale went off odds on in this race. I think it's 5 to 4. I've seen best price. I think that's a fair price. In fairness, I think class will show. And then if you look at the run of Angry Tornado, I looked at his run on the 4th of June, a couple of races before that in a 3 at Shelbourne, a 2 at Shelbourne. I have no idea where that ping break came from, to be honest, in 29.13, but you can only give the dog credit for what you see. And if the dog's capable of doing that 2 runs in a row, then I think it will have more than enough speed. Obviously got more than enough speed to finish second behind Glengar Bale, who I do think, even though he didn't get a clear lead last week by Angry Dad got to it fairly early, and to only get beaten a length by Angry Dad is still a really good run. So I think if Glengar Bale was to turn neck and neck with Angry Tornado, who I do actually think will finish second, I think Glengar Bale will have enough overall speed to win. And then, like Joe mentioned about New In Jacko, it's finished 3rd in the plate, so obviously you're going to be happy with that. But yeah, I think it was a head off the last bend, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think it was at least a neck out, a head off the last bend, and yeah, for it not to go past Jack Solution and then get caught to finish 3rd, I thought it was fairly flat run, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, New In Jacko. So with that, then I don't think New In Jacko is going to lead. I think it's quite a big jumping class for 2 Jack Solution and Fat Boy Storm. And I'm not sure how it's going to get a run, but you look at the run last week by Trap 4 Bombardier, flew home, and I'd be really surprised because there are a couple of front runners in this race. I'll be really surprised if Bombardier, as long as it doesn't get caught in too much trouble, if that wasn't to finish in the first three. So I had Glengar Bale beating Angry Tornado and Bombardier as the 3 qualifiers. Yeah, so in the 851 plates, second semi-final, my tip, and I haven't gone through the whole card yet, but I'll be very surprised if I fancy a dog as strong as this, and it is Trap 3 Angry Dad. I think it's just got a perfect draw. Honestly, I could not, if you were to ask for, of all the 12 dogs still in the play, and you were to give it 2 dogs inside, it would be Swiftcoat and Bubbly Bollinger. No disrespect to them. They just haven't got, for me, the same level of early as Angry Dad, who ran against Glengar Bell last week and was able to lead off the second bend. Even though there is a bit of speed outside in Shalom Milo, I think that will go fairly straight to the bend. And I think, I really believe that Angry Dad is such a good thing. I've seen 11-8 for it. I would personally have it 4-6, maybe even shorter than this. Give respect to the other dogs. That's a 4-6. I'd have it. I will be looking to bet that at 5-4. I think it's a really good price. I think it could, as long as it traps away fairly well, I think it'll have enough speed to lead off the first bend, and it will be race over. If I'm being honest with you, it's shown that it could do it off the front in the first round, being for him Rebel. And it's shown that even if it doesn't get it all its own way, last week Glengar Bale has got enough overall quality to win them races. So yeah, Angry Dad for me to beat Swiftcoat, who I do think actually does have a nice draw, because I think it will lead 2. I can't see anything in this race picking up Swiftcoat. If I think it will turn in the top 3, I think it's got enough speed to probably turn second. If I'm being honest, I think it will come second to Angry Dad. And then I just made Frankie's Jet as the final qualifying spot, simply because I think it came away average. I think we know it come away better. I don't think it's got enough overall early pace to be leading Angry Dad, but I do think that it will lead up 5. I think if it turns fairly handy behind Shalom Milo, it will have enough speed from what I've seen at Toaster and previous runs at Newcastle. I think Frankie's Jet can pick up Shalom Milo. Well, that will be a really interesting race. And I think it can just hold off the fast finishing Bubbly Bollinger and Magical Silas. 3-1-6.
Joe, 3-1-6.
3-6-1 for me. I think Angry Dad's a certainty. There's no reason, unless he just flops out, that he doesn't lead Swiftcoat and Bubbly Bollinger on his inside. And then he's the right side of Shallow Milo, who's got plenty of early into the corner, but he can stay inside. Shallow Milo going into the corner and turn in front. And then if he leads, and nothing's going to catch him. Frankie's Jet was flat behind Angry Tornado last week, but he could finish second here as he should lead Magical Silas in 5 comfortably. And then I had Swiftcoat qualifying in 3rd from Track 1. You know, he's given his owners and trainer just an unbelievable run over the last 6 weeks. They've really lived the dream, and this dog's just an unbelievable ground for them to do what he's doing. And hopefully he can qualify and make the final. I think he has enough early to lead Bubbly Bollinger into the corner. So yeah, it'd be 3. Angry Dad looks a good thing. 11-8 just looks huge. I'd have him even shorter than Ryan. It'd be about 2-1 for me in this. He looks a really good thing. Over Frankie's Jet in 6, who will now win because we napped him last week and he didn't really run any race. So just have on Frankie's Jet at whatever price you can get. And then Swiftcoat in 3rd to finish. Swiftcoat in Track 1 to finish 3rd. So 3-6-1 for me in the second semi-final of the plate.